Good evening, friends. Dan here. I want to give you a updated crypto market update. I did one the other day and my reception was so bad it kept freezing the video, and I didn't want to give you guys that kind of experience. So I've got like super solid connection right now, mega death kill gigabit speeds. And I'm going to give you an update of kind of like what's going on with crypto, what's going on with AI. I actually just got back from Orlando. As you guys know, I meet with Intel, and there was Microsoft vice presidents out there, all kinds of stuff. And we were talking about AI and how that's going to affect the world. And gotten some interesting conversations with some friends about blockchain down there. These are like the biggest, best customers of Intel Corporation, Microsoft, a lot of these corporations. And I was able to meet with a lot of my peers out there and kind of discuss what I think is going to happen. So I'm going to share some of that information with you. So get your pen and pad out. I think you'll find this very interesting, and it'll help you connect the dots in your head. So I'm going to get right into it. I'm not going to delay, but our internet connection's good, so I'm really happy about this. First of all, I want to let you know that Coinbase is you've been seeing a lot of legal action with them, taking action against the SEC, the SEC giving them a Wells notice, all kinds of stuff. And they tried the SEC to force their hand to give them a determination. And the SEC said, nope, we're going to go to our timeline. First of all, I don't think it's a good idea for these exchanges to be challenging the SEC too much, because I think the government's going to do what they want to do at their timeline. But the big hangup, I think, is the central bank digital dollar, right? Now, that's going to be released, I don't know, from now to a couple years from now. But when it does come out, which it's a race to get that out, though, it's going to probably become the new standard of the US dollar globally, right? The Chinese, have the digital yuan with over 260 million users. And that's a lot. And they're going to expand it all across their country even more. Now, a lot of people have asked me, do you think the central bank digital currency is going to be used to be tyrannical, to do a social credit score, or those kind of evil things? And the answer is could. But you know what? A lot of people were scared about the internet and those kind of things when it was coming out. And a lot of people were scared about AI. There's a lot of fear about all change, because people don't like change that much. They want to have some certainty in things, right? But I don't believe we'll be able to block the central bank digital currency. I think there's a lot of good things that can happen. But what's going to be important is this. Like China, they're a communist country. They're going to do communist things with the central bank digital currency they have, the digital yuan. And depending on who's leading our country, they're either going to do good or bad things as well. So really, whoever is running our country, it's just simply a tool, right, which makes things easy for the government to collect tax revenue. Now, a lot of people said, oh, well, people could freeze my assets, blah, blah, blah. Look, if the government doesn't like you, they'll just pull a Kanye and freeze all your assets, and your Apple Pay is not going to work, and you go try buy a burrito, man. So all your assets can be frozen very easily by federal agencies. So I wouldn't think that a central bank digital currency is going to really change that all that much. They're still going to have the power to do whatever they need to do, okay? Now, here's an interesting thing. I think most centralized crypto exchanges, obviously you saw FTX blow up, Voyager blow up, all these kind of exchanges blow up. But I don't think Coinbase really, if they keep fighting with the SEC, has a compelling future, because they're pretty much all crypto, right? Which is pretty large exposure. Now, Fidelity, which is interesting, I'm not paid by Fidelity, by the way, is huge. They have over $10 trillion in assets managed. And they do all kinds of stuff from like equities to insurance to, probably managing different pension funds and all kinds of stuff. But most of their assets are equities, stocks, right? So that's kind of an interesting thing. So for example, if they were managing 10 trillion, some people say it's 14 trillion. And even if $1 trillion of crypto was held and they were the custodian for that, crypto could completely, all the stables could have a DPEG and all this stuff and just blow up. And Fidelity would have a high likelihood of probably being okay compared to other institutions that are purely exposed to crypto. I don't know if you guys know this, but Fidelity has had crypto mining experience and exposure since 2014. It was crazy. I got in early and applied to their beta for their custody participation, and it actually activated a little while ago. And I just did a test purchase of just a little bit of Bitcoin on there just to see, hey, does it work? And it was fairly seamless. So, I think it's going to make easy for like the broad population to simply buy tokens like Bitcoin in there and move it in and out of their IRA accounts, investment accounts. And since there's so much money already there anyways, I think this is like the first mega institutional spark of that. All crypto right now, as you know, is like $1.2 trillion, which is smaller than Apple, smaller than Amazon, smaller than all those, Facebook, all those things. So crypto is actually very, very small. Now, why has it stayed so small overall? And the reason is government regulation. Now, I'm very pro-regulation because once the central bank digital dollar is released and once there's rules governing it to protect consumers and things like that, you're going to have mainstream adoption. So it won't just be Fidelity. You'll see probably Schwab, Pop Online, Bank of America doing mass amounts, Wells Fargo doing mass amounts. All the big institutions will do that. And there's only 21 million Bitcoins, 19 something million mined and like $3 to $6 million is speculative lost. So there's only a couple million more to mine. That's kind of interesting. That's just specifically Bitcoin. But I believe all crypto is software. So, there's so many cool new things. Like no one would believe like what the internet was capable of back in the late 90s when I got involved with the internet. It's crazy. And in 2001, when there was that, major crash, everyone thought like when Amazon dropped, I don't know, like 90% that like, the internet it's going to go, away. But it didn't, and it wasn't a fad. And I don't believe blockchain is either. I don't believe central bank digital dollar is. And now with AI coming to play, it's going to get even more spicy. So I actually have a theory here, and this is not, from any of the boards I sit on. As you guys know, I served 16 years on Intel's board advisor, sit on AMD's gaming advisory council, and was on Microsoft partner advisory council, and all these different things. And so this is none of them, but I believe this: chip manufacturing is going to continue to shrink. It's actually built in nanometers, and it's based on silicon. But now chip manufacturing is becoming so efficient; it's just atoms thick, and people have talked about quantum computing really changing the world, but we haven't been able to harness that. But I believe AI mixed with quantum computing is going to be a big thing. But the next level of computing is going to be organic computing, I believe. You know how they can grow fake meat, right? They can grow fake meat now. So it's like actual cells of like a steak, and they could replicate that and make you this lab-grown steak, right? So it's actually pretty similar, to real meat. I wouldn't eat it, but, it can be done. But what if they could do that with brain cells? But except the brain energy of these cells was not going to be dedicated to, emotions and bodily functions, but simply for storage and processing. This is, biocomputing mixed with AI. That's going to be interesting. I mean, the human brain tissue is so actually efficient. And if they could lab grow that and use that for processing, maybe that helps us harness quantum computing. This elevates us to the next level. Now, a lot of people have asked me, do you think AI is going to destroy the world, or, we're going to have a Terminator situation, Skynet, that kind of thing? Maybe. Neanderthals probably thought that they would live forever, as far as a species, but now they're history, they're extinct. Humans just could be a small blip in time, and machines or organic hybrids with, computers become the new life form. Or maybe it actually evolves to pure energy. We don't know. Okay, I'm going down the rabbit hole. But I believe with organic computing mixed with AI, where the process of manufacturing based on silicon and being limited by, the process of being a couple nanometers wide in manufacturing, I believe that's going to be, a thing of the past. when you're talking organic computing. Go watch old Star Trek and watch about the Borg and, augmentation and AI and stuff. I think you'll find it fascinating. You should definitely watch all the Star Trek. I am a Star Trek nerd. My pugs and I love to watch Star Trek reruns. Of course, I love Star Wars, guys. I love Star Wars, but Star Trek, man, most of the technology there has become like reality. So pretty cool. I'm going to refer to my notes here. So government regulations coming. Now, once government regulation happens and the central bank digital dollar comes into play, it's going to make it really easy for it to be the world currency, I believe. And you know what backs our currency? Really, the only thing that backs it is our military, right? Nukes, Navy, and those things. But did you guys know about the CHIPS Act that over $50 billion was the government gave to make US-based chip manufacturing plants? They banned the NVIDIA A100 and H100 GPU systems from export to China. But here's the crazy coincidence. A100 and H100 processors power AI. Now, I would bet you if Taiwan gets invaded by China, and that's why we're trying to probably move everything here so we don't have a chip shortage if they get invaded, I bet you Taiwan magically gets, the factories there at least get destroyed. Magically. Just like the Nord Stream pipeline magically got blown up. It's like magic things happen. We don't know who did it, but you can take your guess, right? So it's kind of crazy. I believe we're sitting in the sale. I'm not telling you should ape in, and in crypto nerd terms, that means, go all in on crypto. As you guys probably know, more than 75% of my portfolio is real estate. I love that, right? I love running companies and those things. And I love stocks and equities and those things, but you should have crypto exposure of some kind. Now, you can manage it yourself, and there's a couple ways you can do it. You can use a centralized exchange, and I've warned you by the dangers there. Don't keep a lot of money there, because if that exchange goes bankrupt or blows up or gets hacked or anything, you're probably not getting your money back. It's just probably gone. There's a hardware key. The one I use is called a Ledger Nano X, but they turned on this really scary feature. It's called a recovery feature. So if you forgot your seed phrase, which is like your bunch of words that are your restoration phrase, right? Like you should never give it to anyone. You should write it down and keep it in like a safe, private, secure area, right? Because if anyone gets your seed phrase, they can steal all your crypto on a hard wallet, right? So they have this new recovery service so they can recover your phrase for you. Well, the problem is if they have your phrase, a bad employee or bad actor or a lawsuit or legal government entity could subpoena that seed phrase, and boom, all your crypto is exposed. So really know what you're doing as far as security, token approvals, token revocations. I've made videos on that. Like, you're not super safe unless you really know what you're doing there. So, there's not a whole lot of alternatives, but this Fidelity thing is kind of interesting. So for people who just want to hold like really boring, basic stuff, maybe it offers a little bit better level of certainty than just a purely crypto exchange. But again, not an endorsement. They don't pay me. And, if you put your crypto there, you could probably lose it too because they have the keys too, right? So it's an interesting thing. But again, this feels like, early 2000s as far as the internet. I know a lot of people that are crying that they didn't get involved in companies on the internet like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, all those things. You didn't have to have too much, and if you still had it today, you'd be doing very well. So I want you to consider those things. Now, I made that last video, I got all choppy and I deleted it, so sorry if you were halfway through and it got deleted. But I did mention for Ugly Unicorn, our hedge fund. There's a link in my bio if you would like to join it, or you can direct message me is probably the best thing. But you have to be an accredited investor, and the minimum investment is $500,000. I think we have a couple spots open for families and friends at $250,000, $150,000, and $100,000. Just a few. I think one today. We were talking to some people and they were interested in that. The reason why we do that is we only have a limited amount of investors that get in there. If you're going to home game, I would practice with anything, whatever stocks or crypto you choose. And I don't tell you what to buy, obviously, but dollar cost average, which means every month set aside a certain amount of money away that if it went to zero, you wouldn't cry. and get whatever exposure you're comfortable with. But the rule is, if you're stressed out that it may crash massively, you're probably putting too much away every month, right? So shrink that to your tolerance level. That's highly, highly critical. And get educated. Lots of information besides myself all over the internet, YouTube videos, but there's also a lot of disinformation as well. So, just make sure you're doing some diligence on that, right? A lot of people also are there like new projects that I should be considered doing that are local. I won't mention these project names, but a lot of them back here. I'm back. Oh my gosh, power outage right in the middle of my video. So hopefully it picks up again. This is crazy. Second time I've done this video, but hey, now I'm on Wi-Fi 1 bar. Okay, wow, incredible. All right, so if you want to get into Ugly Unicorn Hedge Fund, direct message me. Now, if you want mega alpha and you want to come to our events and be part of our events, though, join my subscriber on my Instagram page. If you just go right on the front of my profile and subscribe, it's like $20 a month. I will share you to private events, a lot of them that we're having. Here's the problem with the private events, though. When I publicly posted an invite, and we had like more than 600 people show up, and it was like we couldn't even feed everybody, and people were packed out the doors. So I want to make it so that it's like a really excellent experience. So what we've been doing is private invite for our investors, but also for private subscribers. My partner, Bridger Pennington, I think invites some of his group from his company as well. If you're not following Bridger, follow Bridger Pennington as well. So a few homework items for you. Subscribe right now, immediately to my Instagram page here. Subscribe, it's like $20 a month. I'll give you psychotic value there. I promise you, you'll love it. I'll also share behind the scenes stuff. But here's the thing, too. A lot of people have asked me, like, what do you charge the mentor? You can direct message me some short stuff, and I'll give you some quick, short answers, though, but very powerful answers if there's some questions I can help with and I have experience there. A lot of people have asked me, like, where do I buy gold? What brokerages do you like? Blah, 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 blah. Sometimes I can't post stuff publicly. Sometimes I can't. But in that private group there, I'll give you a lot of private access. Probably cheaper than any mastermind you're going to spend money on. I don't need your money, but I believe if people spend even a small amount of money to, pay for something, they actually take action. And I always tell you, don't be an asshole, like ask and not do. It drives me crazy, though. And usually when people get stuff for free, sometimes they're assholes. They ask, but they don't do it because they didn't pay even $1 for it, right? So I hope that works for you. So subscribe there. And if you're interested in the Ugly Unicorn Hedge Fund and you're an accredited investor, direct message me. And if you find this useful, share it so that we can help more people. There's no charge for this information I gave you here. I'm going to try to do these as fast as I can. Also, Dan's Millionaire Code podcast available to you in my profile link. All right, guys, have an awesome evening. I love you guys. Rock and roll.